Down 0-3. Now the Florida Panthers have their backs against the wall as game 4 is Monday night at Amalie Arena. On this edition of the Locked On Florida Panthers podcast, we'll be bringing in Alex Baumgartner of the Fifth Line 5R show to chat about the Florida Panthers now being down 0-3 against the two-time defending Stanley Cup champion Tampa Bay Lightning. Let's talk about this.
Your Locked On Panthers, your daily podcast on the Florida Panthers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
And welcome to this Monday, May 23rd edition of the Locked On Florida Panthers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. We're your team every day. Thank you for making the Locked On Florida Panthers podcast your first listen of the day. I'm Armando Velez from PantherParkway.com. You can follow me on Twitter at Monoman12. Follow the show account on Twitter at LO_FLA Panthers. And thank you for making the Locked On Florida Panthers podcast your first listen of the day. Don't forget to also subscribe to Locked On NHL and the Crosscheck NHL show with Andrew Berkshire and Mary Clark, who will be covering all the postseason activities around the National Hockey League. And today's episode is brought to you by BetOnline. BetOnline has you covered this season with more props, odds, and lines than ever before. BetOnline, where the game starts. So, Cats fans, another loss in this series as the Florida Panthers lose 5-1 against the Tampa Bay Lightning in Game 3, Sunday afternoon at Amalie Arena. After having 2 days off, the Florida Panthers shifting around their power play unit with adding Patrick Hornquist to the mix, scratching Anton Lundell, and bringing in Maxim Mammon, who Maxim Mammon actually did not have he had a pretty decent game. I saw him drive play a little bit more and a little bit of a pep in his step with Maxim Mammon being in the mix for the Panthers. But the issues, the same ones, still remain for the Panthers, is that many times when they're driving the play, the Florida Panthers try to take a shot from the outside, and there is a Tampa Bay Lightning player blocking a shot for the Cats, and they doubled the amount of block shots versus the Panthers. And just continuing that theme, this whole series, a team that scored over 4 goals per game in the regular season averages now 1 goal in these last 3. Their power play got a goal in this one, breaking their drought, but still wasn't enough for the Panthers to come out with a win in this one. So let me bring in my guest here, Alex Baumgartner of 5 Reasons Sports, here to discuss this 5-1 loss against the Tampa Bay Lightning. Alex, another tough one for the Panthers, as now they find themselves in this hole, 3 games to none, and man, what a hole to be in for this Cats team, a hole that none of us expected them to be in. I'm going to give you the floor. Your thoughts, sir, on where the Panthers are right now.
Yeah, so when the power play scored, instantly I thought, okay, they got one thing off their back. Now what can they do with it? And unfortunately, they weren't able to do anything with it because they got flat out embarrassed that third period. Looked like they weren't a team that was down 2 goals, down 2-0 in a series in that third period. Absolutely no bite. Had 1 shot the first 7.5 minutes of the period. Tampa was absolutely all over them, and Florida still had their chances. The chances were there, and yes, Andrei Vasilevsky is the best goaltender in the world. Yes, he made some remarkable saves. But this is an historic regular season offense. An offense that we haven't seen this good since the 90s. Highest scoring offense in the 2000s, 2010s, 2020s. Panthers have scored 1 goal 3 straight playoff games. That's not good. They got their power play goal tonight. Nothing else to show for it. Yes, the power play had some chances after that, but this is the 60-minute hockey game. Tampa had less chances, but was able to capitalize on it. That Stamkos goal was very bad. The defensive breakdown, just having that guy wide open. I mean, there's not much more. Yeah, Bobrovsky got a piece of it. Yeah, maybe he could have stopped it. But you have a guy shooting a one-timer off the rush like that wide open. This isn't a power play setup. This isn't an even strength like in the zone setup. This is off the rush. You got a guy wide open. The defense has done it multiple times this series where they let the Lightning just walk into the zone and they kept backing up. If you look at the way Tampa was playing in that third period, they had about 3 to 4 guys back forming a wall Florida could not get through. It was like that Washington series, the beginning of the Washington series, where there was no room to breathe. Tampa did that to Florida tonight in the third period. Tampa sat back when they needed to, and then they got the 2 empty net goals, 5-1 win. They're up 3-0 in the series. Huberdeau saying they can come back, but from what I saw today, that effort doesn't show me that they can come back. That Game 2 effort was great for 59 minutes and 50 seconds. Great game. But they did not replicate that performance whatsoever today in Tampa.
Mm-hmm. And Sam Reinhart spoke about after the game how after the Tampa Bay Lightning scored 2 in the second period, that sometimes desperation kicks in where you try to make a play all by yourself, even when you're 1-on-2 of the opposition. And when you're 1-on-2, being that the Tampa Bay Lightning have more players on their side, when you enter the zone trying to take it by yourself, that stuff's not going to work. That stuff's just not going to work on Vasi neither. And I get it that they're down in the series. They were down in the game as well. But I just feel like the part of me forgets that the Panthers forgot who they are as well, and just they're continued to be shell shocked in this and just trying to force things that aren't there.
Look, the Panthers this entire playoff run has been very up and down team. They haven't put together maybe more than one 60-minute performance that I was like, wow, the whole time they were going. That one 60-minute performance that I could think of was that comeback win in Game 4 against Washington, where they just weathered the storm, fought back, won in overtime. That was probably the last time I could remember a really 60-minute game where I'm like, you know what? I think they checked pretty much every box bar the power play. Today, I know what Reinhardt said. You get in desperation. You try and make these one-on-2 plays, 1-on-3. The thing is, at least someone's trying something when they're doing that. They had no zone possession. They had no transition possession. Tampa was very good in that third period of kind of just stopping the rush, but you got to somehow counter it. There was one play where there was 3 Lightning guys in the corner and 1 Panther in the third period. And I'm just looking at that like, what are you guys doing? Anyone that's played hockey, their coach will always tell you 2 man on the puck in the corner. They got 3. You at least send 2, if not 3. I mean, you're in the offensive zone. You got to start throwing bodies somewhere. And when they threw bodies at the net, the puck was loose. We saw that, but there was just not enough fight. And Andrew Burnett said the Lightning have more will. Well, they did.
Mm-hmm.
They had less chances, but they capitalized on those chances. They took it to the Panthers in that third period, kind of just suffocated them. That's what happened.
Mm-hmm. And even then, early on, the Tampa Bay Lightning were kind of a little loose with the puck, creating some turnovers for the Panthers to give them their opportunities. And just Mammon has a beautiful backhand attempt on Vasilevsky. Those are
Mammon
some
was
of
the
the
best forward tonight for me today.
Mm-hmm.
No question. Yeah. You said it earlier in the show. He actually had drive. He gets in the lineup. Every time he gets in the lineup, the thing with Mammon is he at least tries because he doesn't have that guaranteed spot. and he had a couple chances offensively. Even when you had the TNT guys are unbiased. They're gonna say what they need to say. They called out certain performances. They accredited certain performances. They said Mammon's been everywhere. I'd keep putting him out. Mammon was the best forward for me tonight. Yes, he's probably the healthiest forward too, but
More than likely.
he had the drive. He tried. He got some chances on goal. That's what you need, and it wasn't happening from the entire team. I like Ben Sherrod's performance today. I thought he was blocking a lot of shots. I thought he was getting physical in the corners. Ben Sherrod's not a flashy type of defenseman, but he's gonna win those board battles, and he's gonna, kind of eat up those minutes like that. I liked his play today, specifically. I think that's the role he has to play, but offensively, there's just absolutely nothing going for this team right now. And 4 teams have ever come back from a 3-0 deficit. I haven't seen anything that says this team can. If they come out flat again tomorrow, good luck, I guess.
Mm-hmm. No doubt. We'll discuss more about that in the next segment. We're going to talk about some of the more mistakes and some of the lack of game management for the Panthers in the next segment. But first, we're going to tell you all about Athletic Greens. Our next partner is a product that I've been starting using every day. I started taking AG1 because sometimes you need a little bit of a break from the coffee and you need to try something different. So I've been trying Athletic Greens. So what is this stuff? With one delicious scoop of AG1, you're absorbing 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source superfoods, probiotic, and adaptogens to help you start your day right. This special blend of ingredients supports your gut health, nervous systems, immune system, energy, recovery, focus, and aging. All the things. Right now, it's time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. With just one scoop in a cup of water every day, that's it. No need for a million different pills and supplements to look out for your health. To make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/NHL network. Again, that's athleticgreens.com/NHL network to take ownership of your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. Back on this Monday, May 23rd edition of the Locked On Florida Panthers podcast. I'm Armando Velez. I got Alex Baumgartner from the Fifth Line 5-hour show of the 5 Reasons Sports Network here. So, Alex, something that Randy Moeller spoke about on Doug Plagens' Florida Panthers Insider show spoke about how some of the issues of the Panthers has sometimes come down to game management. Spoke about the ending of Game 2. And we kind of also got a little bit of that at the end of the first period here in Game 3, where the Panthers, David Dwork also had a freeze frame of the Panthers kind of exiting the zone, and then the
4 players were
going out, and then the Tampa Bay Lightning, it was Colton again who had that opportunity on Bobrovsky. This time it's from the left circle, not in front of the net. And then, regardless of whether we think that cross check on Patrick Hornquist was soft, which I think it could have been something that that could have been let go. However, the game within the game, the mental aspect of it, and just continuing to bite the Panthers and just I just don't know what it comes down to when it comes to the Panthers. Just when it comes to the end of the third period, it feels like they're a little bit mentally loose towards the end of the period because they think that they're heading into the locker room with the score that's right there, when a little bit of slip up here and here we go. It could have been another goal there. It happened in Game 2. They were lucky enough to not have that happen in Game 3.
Look, I said it earlier in the show. They haven't played 60-minute hockey really at all this playoffs, and they haven't really played 60-minute hockey the entire regular season. Otherwise, you wouldn't have 29 comeback wins.
That's true.
Yeah, the regular season, you're able to get away with it. The ice is a lot more open. There's a lot less to play for. This and that. I don't want to talk about the regular season. But, yeah, it's mistakes that you don't see from the Lightning as much. The Lightning had 1 or 2 laps in their judgment today. It almost hurt them twice. The Mammon one is a big one where Reinhardt hitting Mammon for the breakaway right at the beginning of the game. But they didn't let that deter them too much. They turned around and, they score after. They score a little bit after that. Florida, it happened in game 2. I've seen it happen multiple times this season. It happened today too. They try and, they think they're getting out of the period or they want to get one more rush or something. And, sometimes they want to make that extra play when sometimes you need to stay at home. That's what happened in game 2. You can't have 2 defensemen go behind the net without a center supporting you in front. Even if the center is supporting in front, you don't always want to jump the gap like that. There's only certain times you should really have 2 defensemen behind the net. And it's depending on how many guys are in the corner, how many guys are positioned on that side. These little things are just, we're seeing it a lot more right now just because they're down in the series. But, that's how you lose hockey games. It lost them game 2. It happening in the second period or the first period in a game in this game is not as bad as it happening with 3 seconds left in a game 2 when it's 1-1. But still, it's the mental mistakes. It's, the little things. And sometimes we chip away at the little things in a game like this. And it didn't hurt the Panthers today. But it could have hurt them if it was a closer game.
Mm-hmm. And let's go back to the block shots. On the Victor Hedman penalty in the second period. Many great chances, and the Tampa Bay Lightning, I wrote this down, they had 6 blocks on that PK alone.
Yep.
Including that wide open net that Jonathan Huberdeau had, and Ryan McDonough just sticks his stick out and just finds a way. It's just like, man, these guys aren't going to get anything today. And I mean, sure, they got that one power play goal by Sam Reinhart. Look what happens when you fill the slot for the Panthers. I mean, but that was just only one time. I mean, the Lightning right before that on their first goal of the game, that was a goal that was right in the slot, deflected in. I mean, and you see Kucherov and McDonough play pitch and catch there, and they get a body right in front of the net. And the Panthers, they had so many chances on that. Hornquist almost had a backhand puck retrieval and then almost gets it through. But short, I don't have the number on top of my head. I think it's like 1 for 28 now on the power play for the Panthers. But man, you're thinking that just had they converted on the earlier ones earlier in the series, we're not talking about 0-3 right now for the Panthers, and there's not much worry about this power play unit that is for the Panthers. Sure, they got one out of the way, but it's still worth a conversation based on how this unit is performed, because that one that the Tampa Bay Lightning got 6 blocks on after they scored their first one, it's still a topic of conversation for this Panthers team.
Look, that power play was a disaster from the start. Nick Paul breaks his stick, and the Panthers, specifically Barkov, does not expose that open side. There is something, I don't know what's going on with Barkov. I don't know what's happening with him right now. There was the power play after that one. Even TNT called it out. He refused to give Ekblad the pass for the open one-timer. He kept going. There was one play where Tampa had no gap at all. Barkov, instead of hitting the easy pass, Huberdeau is this close to him, and he decides to spin and give it to Huberdeau. Huberdeau did not expect that puck to come. I don't know what's going on there. When Nick Paul broke his stick, they were not, abusing that open side. Some of the shots from Barkov, I just don't understand on that power play. He's just shooting it to shoot it for the sake of shooting it. It's a 5-on-3, basically, when the guy doesn't have a stick. And he fumbled the puck on the power play, too. This is your franchise player. And I'm not just going to call out Barkov. I'm just saying there's something up with him on this on the today. Like, he had the one chance. He showed some drive. He almost scored. I just don't know why we don't see more of that. Because he can take over games. He literally had one chance today, one good rush the entire game. on a bad shot, it still goes through Vasilevsky's arm and then hits the inside of the post and goes out. Like, I don't understand.
Yeah, and the power play that you're talking about with Barkov refusing it to pass to Aaron Ekblad on the left side, that was on the too many men on the ice penalty for the Tampa Bay Lightning. And yeah, Barkov had a great opportunity on that one that hit the post, and he had also had two chances right on the doorstep for on a loose puck, and two chances there, still couldn't get anything through. One of your few times that you actually get right there in front of Vasilevsky, and it's just and we talked about it. 7 minutes into that third period, one shot on goal, and Bob on the other end was just keeping the Panthers in it. And again, the broadcast spoke about how if you were to tell me at the beginning of the series that the Panthers were down 0-3 to the Tampa Bay Lightning, I think a majority of us would think that it's because of the goaltending, and it hasn't been the case at all. And Bob kept the Panthers at least reasonably in it, even though the goal from Chernak, I don't believe there was traffic out in front and it got through the net. The Steven Stamkos one.
That was the one bad goal the entire playoff for Bob. That was the one that he could have had back. We're 10 games in, 9 games in now. That's the one goal that he clearly got beat, and I'm like, ooh.
Yeah, I thought that was the only the only one.
That Stamkos one, like I said, you got a guy entering the zone, you're backing up, transition, there's an open one-timer. Like, yeah. And he's still
at 100 miles an hour. That's tough to stop.
It's Steven Stamkos. There's not much else to say. After Ovechkin, he was the next one up before those injuries. He has 2 cups, so he's doing pretty well for himself.
And Jacob Winans also had a tweet after the game talking about how this is the Tampa Bay Lightning kind of the core is older than the about the talk about their core being older than the Panthers. But if you think about it, which he brought up a good point, saying how a lot of the players actually on the Lightning are not that much older than the Panthers. When it comes to the talk about, I'm going to pull up the tweet as we speak.
Yeah, I saw the tweet. The one thing I have to say with that is the Lightning had their oh shoot, do we blow it up moments. The things that I'm seeing right now from Panthers Twitter, I saw from the Lightning fans 7 years ago. Like, oh, they lose in the Cup final. Oh, then they lose to Columbus. Oh, what's going on? Like, can they win with these guys? Is this and that gonna happen? Like, yeah, like Stamkos, Hedman, they have a lot of experience. They've been through it, but the Panthers have too. They have to. They don't have cups, but they've had their losses. They got their series win now. Well, I think we won the series to Toronto.
Oh, hold on.
That's the wrong tweet.
Wrong tweet. Hold on. All right. There we go. That was this is the right one. So, all right. Gonna read it word for word. Kucherov was picked in Hubie's draft. Braden Point was picked in Ekblad's draft. Vasi was picked a year before Barkov. The core is mostly the same age except for Stamkos and Hedman by a couple of years.
Well, look, the Lightning are older. The Ryan McDonough, Zach Bogosian, Palat Maroon. There's a lot more than what we're looking at right there. Yes, they are a more experienced team. Like, there's no denying it. They are more of a veteran team, just the way they're built. I mean, yeah, I really don't care how old the team is. They know how to win. That's basically all I care about. They know we can sit here and look at the analytics. We can look at the numbers. I'm looking at the eye test. They know how to win.
They do. And when you're willing to put your body on the line for your team, and the Tampa Bay Lightning could easily just be satisfied with, we have 2 cups, we don't have to try. But when you win, that hunger of wanting more is there for them.
I mean,
And
Corey Perry lost 2 Cup finals to them, and then he went there, and now he's killing the Panthers. That's another guy that's not young, but
who's been through his fair share of playoffs when he was with the Anaheim Ducks, won a cup in 07.
He went to multiple Cup finals too. Like, so the guy knows to play hockey.
Yeah. And that's really they have the experience on their side, but as far as some of the core players, some of them are the same age, and just it just comes down to really leadership at the end of the day. The leadership for the Tampa Bay Lightning has been there. Stamkos has produced. Their bottom six has produced. Kucherov is continuing to produce. I mean, and this is 3 games of 11 F7D for the Tampa Bay Lightning as well. And multiple times, players for the Tampa Bay Lightning are going down the tunnel to get treatment as well. No answers for this team, and it's but listen, Jonathan Huberdeau spoke about it, that they said that they could come back. I know it's very unlikely. Only 4 times, the most recent one in 2014, where the LA Kings came back against the San Jose Sharks in the first round. Prior to that was the Philadelphia Flyers against the Boston Bruins in 2010. I'm not ready to say it's over, but we'll talk more about that in the next segment, where we had some of the players and the coaching staff talk about that and more about just taking this one game at a time. We're going to talk about that more in segment number 3. But first, we're going to tell you all about BetOnline. And BetOnline continues to be the number one source for all your sports betting needs and info. Find all the latest odds, news, and sports development, including this year's basketball playoffs, Major League Baseball scores, Stanley Cup playoffs, fights, and even next season's NFL futures. BetOnline is your continued source for all your sports wagering information, from live betting to playoffs, esports, and more. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more about the trends and action. BetOnline, where the game starts. Third and final segment here on the Locked On Florida Panthers podcast. I'm Armando Velez. I got Alex Baumgartner here of the Fifth Line 5R show of the 5 Reasons Sports Network to discuss this 0-3 hole that the Florida Panthers find themselves in. So, Alex, the Panthers find themselves in, like I said in the last segment, in a position that is very unlikely, and only 4 teams have done it in NHL history. Once in baseball and 0 times in the NBA. So if there's one sport that we've seen this more times than others, it's the NHL. And
it just happened in the Swiss League playoff final. Zurich was up 3-0, and then Zug came back and won in 7. Not the NHL, but that's a very competitive league.
Mm-hmm. And who knows? And Jonathan Huberdeau spoke about how it's one game at a time. And I spoke about it right before Game 3. One game at a time for the Panthers. And we cannot worry about a Game 5. We cannot worry about a Game 6. We cannot worry about a Game 7 right now. What we got to worry right now is about Game 4. And for those who we realize it's a back-to-back right now for the Panthers, but in the playoffs, the chances are the teams are not going to go with their backup goaltenders on the second of a back-to-back in the playoffs. So expect Andrei Vasilevsky tomorrow as well.
Yeah.
Sergei Bobrovsky, he's played well enough that I wouldn't be surprised if he's starting.
It's 100% going to be him.
Yeah, but who knows? Who knows? We never know with the Panthers. As well as he played, they might try to go off with that spark of Spencer Knight to create a spark, even though I highly doubt it. But with being down 0-3, I think this one is more likely to happen for the Panthers. I think we could see Jumbo Joe Thornton in game 4 for the Panthers. The chances
I was gonna tweet it out that I would scratch. I think they're gonna scratch Lomberg. It's not that he's been playing bad; it's just he barely played today. I think they're going to scratch Lomberg or Achari, one of those two. It's probably going to be Lomberg.
Mm-hmm.
Lomberg
517 of
Achari.
Ice
It's a
Clan.
toss up, and then yeah, I think Jumbo's going to play tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. I really wouldn't doubt if they put Jumbo Joe just to create a little bit of a spark. And listen, the sparks can only help so much, right? You still got to put the pucks in front of the net. You still got to find a way to create shooting lanes too. And also credit to John Cooper and his staff for closing out those lanes. But what it comes down to really in game 4 is just not a lot, putting more of your bodies on the line for the Tampa Bay Lightning on their opportunities and not passing it to the closed lanes in your offensive zone for the Panthers. That's really what it comes down to. And if we see less of those blocked attempts by the Lightning tomorrow, there's a better chance that they win. And Andrew Burnett, to quote Andrew Burnett on what he said after game 3, you win one and you bring it home, and you're already back at FLA Live Arena for game 5. So that's the mindset for me. I'm not even thinking about coming all the way back. I'm not thinking about that right now. Win game 4, and try to find a way to not allow Tampa Bay to get more of those blocked shots or even passes. That's really what it comes down to.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much else to say. The blocks are coming because the Panthers are being indecisive with the puck in the zone. They're trying to move it too much. That's why the sticks are deflecting them in the lanes. They're not doing anything on the transition really. That's why the Lightning are having time to get into the lanes. The reason why the Panthers aren't blocking that many shots is because Tampa's not getting as much zone possession time. It's because they're just off the transition and they're quickly getting the puck towards the net. That's just how it's been the whole series. Florida has not been the offensive transition team they were in the regular season. They haven't showed that at all. Large part to what Tampa's been doing to them, but Florida just hasn't been able to adjust. Sometimes this team adjusts a little bit too late, and it's looking like it's too late right now.
It's looking that way, and when you think of it with a coach on one side that has been there, done that, and even prior to winning Stanley Cup Finals, he's been to multiple Eastern Conference Finals, a trip to the Stanley Cup Final in 2015 before losing to Chicago, and it's just Andrew Burnett right now is being outcoached too, and of course these are it's I don't know if growing pains is the appropriate word when you're thinking about a round 2 appearance for the Panthers, but right now this has really got to Andrew Burnett himself. We challenged him right before game 4 of the Washington series, and he responded with his fair share of line changes, especially with the D pairs in round 1. What is he personally for him? What is he made of going into game 4? And people, if there isn't a second round exit for the Panthers, people might look at the amount you gave up for Sherratt and Giroux only to exit the second round. But still, you still make those moves if you really believe that you can contend. Really, it's all about putting it all together. And I'm not going to shame Bill Zito for making those moves. He really believed in this squad, and I'm backing Bill Zito on that one. It really right now is Andrew Burnett. What are you going to do?
Giroux scored a lot of goals this postseason. Like, he's trying. I saw them zoom in on the bench, and he said, "Let's go, boys!" Down 3-1. I mean, Claude Giroux wants to win with his team. That's why I say put Jumbo on that bench, because the only guys I saw yelling was Horny and Achari. Really, those are the two guys they zoomed in. They were yelling. I saw Giroux say something. Those are veteran guys that have been to Cup Finals, right? Like he wants this one. No one's helping him out. Ben Sherratt's been to the Cup final. He was blocking those shots. He was putting the battles in the corner. The Panther season is on the line tomorrow. All I can say is if they don't come out hot, if they don't score the first goal, and they got to play on their back foot once again, you're not getting that game 5. That's all. Because Tampa's not going to let you get that game 5.
And the term that the Panthers used, chasing the game. And it starts with that first goal. Every single game in this series has been the Tampa Bay Lightning scoring first. Round 1, every single time the opposition scored. Hold on. Every time the opposition scored first, in the last 4 games, they were able to come back. With the Panthers in Game 6 against Washington a few Fridays ago, they were able to come back in that game as well. And really, it just comes down to scoring first for the Panthers.
Well, if they score first, then they'll have a chance. But they've scored first in this series and haven't done anything after that. They've only scored once in each game. You gotta get the sticks going. That's basically it. You don't get the sticks going, you're going home. That's it.
Yep. Win or go home tomorrow. And the for the Lightning, they haven't lost back-to-backs at all since they got swept in 2019. You start with one game at a time. You don't even worry about game 5. Win game 4. And to get that stat correct for the first round series for the Panthers, the first 2 games of that series, the team who scored first won in games 1 and 2. The rest of that way, the team who scored first lost in that series. The Florida Panthers haven't found that way to come back, but the thing is, they don't even want to be in that position. So score first and set the tone for the Panthers. And that's what it comes down to. You said it starts with the sticks, and it starts with not allowing the Panthers to get into those closed lanes by the Lightning when they're in transition. So that's what it comes down to. And hopefully 24 hours from now, we're talking, well, this is a day game, but hopefully over 24 hours from now.
30 hours from now.
Yeah, somewhere around there. So we're talking about a game 5 Wednesday night in Sunrise, Florida. But Alex, I want to thank you for hopping on this live edition of the Locked On Florida Panthers podcast. An 0-3 hole for this team. Even though it's not looking good for the Cats, and we're hoping that our coverage continues past Monday night. But tell everybody where they can find you online.
You can find me on Twitter at Baumgartner91. Other than that, I don't know. I'm everywhere, I guess. Well, hopefully the coverage continues. If not, Cancun flight leaves at 6.
I hope you haven't booked it yet. So book it when the season's over, and we're hoping it's after May 29th. No, past May 29th, which would be a game 7. So don't book it yet. One game at a time though. So let's do one game at a time. But thank you so much for joining me as always, man.
Thanks.
And if you like what you're hearing, please subscribe to the podcast so you'll be notified every single time the Locked On Florida Panthers podcast jumps into your podcast feed. Make sure to subscribe to Locked On Fantasy Hockey and the Crosscheck NHL show with Andrew Berkshire and Mary Clark will be covering all the postseason activities around the National Hockey League. Thank you for making the Locked On Florida Panthers podcast your first listen of the day. And for your second listen of the day, make sure you listen to today's episode of Locked On NHL. From first round matchups to each Stanley Cup kiss, Locked On NHL covers the playoffs like no other. Hear the latest news and opinions from local experts every Monday through Friday. It's free and available wherever you get podcasts. So I'm Armando Velez with Alex Baumgartner. and you've been listening to Locked On Florida Panthers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. We're your team every day.